Welcome, everyone. Happy to see so many people in here. You're not looking at War of the Worlds. What you're looking at are hackers attacking people all over the world. If this sort of thing interests you, by all means, go to this website and you can waste a whole day doing nothing but watching hackers attack other people. If it doesn't interest you, you've now seen the last of this. By now, you've all heard about the Equifax hack, which happened back at the beginning of September. And the information that was passed on to the spammers were names, addresses, birth dates, social security numbers, and in some cases, even your driver's license information. Equifax is being nice. They are offering us 2 years worth of free credit monitoring without any charge. Isn't that nice? For those of us that by now have established our credit and no longer need to go out and make new loans, new credit cards, new mortgages, the best advice I can offer is to put a freeze on your credit. Once you've put a freeze on it, nobody can make any new loans. And the whole idea for stealing your identity is to be able to make loans in your name. Once the freeze is in place, that's the end of anybody being able to make any of those loans and putting you into financial grief. You put it into effect by contacting each of the 3 major credit reporting companies. You see the phone numbers and email and the websites listed here. There's a slight charge for putting in a freeze. Once that's done, anybody wants to go ahead and start making loans in your name, they're out of luck. You'll be given a PIN number once you put this into place, and using that PIN number will make it easy for you to unfreeze your credit should you have to make a new loan. Maybe you want to buy a new car. You can unfreeze and then you can refreeze. This is the best way to make sure that nobody else winds up making loans in your name. For those of you interested in genealogy, this site, familytreenow.com, you don't need to be a member. You don't have to sign up. All you need to do is put in the first, last name and the state in which you reside, and up will pop all the information that's publicly available under that name. Now, you don't have to put in your name. You can put in somebody else's name and get all the dirt on that other person. The nice thing is this site also has an opt-out page. And if you don't want your information to be readily available on this site, I suggest you go in there, go to their opt-out page, put in your first and last name and the state, and get rid of your information from this site. It doesn't eliminate the information, but it won't be easily available on this particular website. For those of you that are on Facebook, stalkscan.com, put in your Facebook address, and all these things that you see listed here are available for you to inspect. Not so nice is that you can put in somebody else's Facebook address and you'll get all of their information. Another site being used to harass other people. The bad part is this site has no opt-out. This information is here for anyone to harness. Although I only share my information with friends and family, the picture you see on the bottom left is something I shared, and it within 10 minutes was available on this site. So they still need to do some work on Facebook to make sure that friends and family mean only friends and family. Most of us are seniors. We need to learn what's safe and what's not. When you participate in any kind of activity, please pick something that's nice and safe. This obviously isn't one of those activities. Now, this doesn't mean you shouldn't be active. You certainly should, but pick something safe. Avoid something like this. It really isn't important what you use to get to the internet. It is important to exercise caution when you visit the internet. It's important to avoid the dangers that you find on the internet. And it's very important to learn to use the right tools to help protect you once you're on the internet. Remember, we are in most cases our own worst enemy. If we were not sitting in front of that keyboard, we wouldn't be tempted to click on that link that will redirect us and eventually infect us. Currently, every single second, there are 5 brand new infections released. That's increased every year, and there's no reason to think that next year it won't again increase. As long as the bad guys still keep making all that money, they're going to continue to use their efforts to come out with more and more malware in hopes that someone will click on a bad link or be fooled by an email and pass along their personal information. Be careful, it's a dangerous world out there. Your router is the front door to your system. All routers come with a default username and password, and by going to a site like routerpassword.com, putting in the manufacturer's name, it will tell you what the default sign-in information is. Therefore, the first thing you should do with any new router is to go in and make the necessary changes to not have that default information as a sign-in. Make up a strong username and password and be safe. Whenever possible, always use two-step verification. Using two-step verification means you get to use your username and your password, and then they will send a code to you on your smart device, and until that code is entered, you don't gain access to the account. This is especially important when you're doing banking and shopping. It's quite possible for a hacker to steal your username and password. They are not likely at the same time to also have stolen your smart device. And if they don't have your smart device, they won't get that code that they need, and without it, they won't be able to sign in. One more way to keep yourself safe. Personal mail at home, when it's delivered, just because it looks like garbage, don't be fooled. Many of that mail contains lots of personal information. Smart thing to do is to put it through a shredder before you discard it. If you don't, there are people out there that harvest discarded mail, and they make lots of money from the information that they sell that's contained in that mail. Buy a shredder, they aren't expensive, and keep yourself safe. Watch out for phishing websites and fake email campaigns. This is an email that I received which says it came from PayPal. It told me there was a problem with my account, and if I wanted access again, I had to click on this descriptive link in order to resolve the case. Anytime you see a descriptive link, it tells you an action is going to happen when you click on it. It doesn't tell you what the actual website is where this is going to take you. If you hover your mouse on top of a descriptive link, then on the bottom left, you'll always see where that link will take you. So don't click it, hover the mouse on it, and then look to see where it takes you. And you don't have to be too smart to figure out that this has nothing to do with PayPal. You should also know that your bank or PayPal or your credit card, if there is a problem with your account, they'll tell you there's a problem via email, but they will never supply a link or a phone number. They'll just simply tell you to contact them. After all, this is your bank or your PayPal account, and you should know how to get in touch with them. You should use a unique sign-in information, which means a username and password, and it should be different for every account or website that requires it. If you use the same sign-in information for all things that require you to sign in, and that information is stolen, then they'll have access to everything that you sign into. If you're using a different one for each site, then if one gets stolen, all the others are still safe. It's only the one that was stolen that's actually at risk. Keep your data divulging on social networks to a minimum. If you're about to leave on vacation, please don't announce it on Facebook. Remember, it's not only your friends that are on Facebook, the crooks are also there. And if you're going to tell somebody that you're going to be gone for 2 weeks, you may just come back to an empty home or apartment. The Nigerian scam is still very much alive. Every single day, someone thinks that for a couple of $100, you can wind up sharing in somebody's multi-million-dollar inheritance. It doesn't happen that way. You will lose your $100 that you pay for this, but you will never ever see any part of that inheritance. If you think that Twitter and tweet are noises that birds make, you really have no business being on the internet. Besides, we should leave tweeting to the experts. Stay clear of sending sensitive information across public Wi-Fi. Your banking and your shopping should not be done while you're at McDonald's or Starbucks or the hotel that you may be staying at. Remember that all that information can be intercepted. It's open, it's not protected, and if you're not using any protection, you'll wind up having your information stolen. If you do have to use the services of open Wi-Fi, then what you should be doing is using something called a VPN, Virtual Private Network. It encrypts everything before it leaves your computer, and it won't get unencrypted till it gets to its destination. Therefore, if someone intercepts the information, they'll get encrypted information, and they don't have a key, so it's total, utter garbage to them. If you are looking for a free VPN, I can suggest the Opera browser. Once it's installed, go into the settings, and then under privacy and security, look for the VPN. This box is unchecked by default. Check it. Once checked, then you'll see this blue VPN logo up here. It means the VPN is now in effect. Anything that you do within the browser will be fully encrypted and you're fully protected. One way to get free VPN service, you have to remember there is a difference between free VPN and paid VPN. Free usually has many less places that you can use that service. So if you're paying for it, they offer you a greater number of places that you can sign into. It's usually also much faster on the paid version. If you don't want to pay for it, use Opera browser, an excellent browser, been around for a long, long time. When you download software to install on your computer, you need to be careful where you get your downloads from. There are some sites that not only send you the program you requested, but they bundle it with a whole bunch of garbage. And if you're not careful and you don't use a custom install, you will never see that all the crap is added to your computer. Some safe sites that you can go to download programs. Major Geeks is one. Older Geeks is another. They promise no ads, no crapware, and no BS. A site that I enjoy using is called Night Night. From Night Night, you can select a whole bunch of programs and download them all at once, and then have them automatically installed. I use it whenever I set up a new computer, because most people have their favorite programs. I can select all of them all at once and have them all installed one after another. Night Night also makes sure there is no add-ons, no garbage, no browser redirects, none of that stuff. Your apps for your smart devices also need scrutiny, just as programs that you install on your computer. The example here shows you two. The one on the right, Privacy Flashlight, only asks for what it actually needs in order to function, which is access to your camera. It uses the flash of the camera to be your flashlight. So this is safe to hit the install button. The one on the left, brightest LED flashlight, it's already had way over 1 million installs. It not only asks you for access to the camera, which is what it needs, but then goes along and asks you for access to everything else that's on your smart device. Your address book, your pictures, you name it, it wants access to it. Not because it needs it, but that's what it uses to make money. So for you to be safe, this is not one you should install. Anytime you install one, make sure it only asks for information for access that it actually needs in order to function. If it asks for more than that, don't install it. Make sure that you always keep your software up to date. That includes your operating system. Almost all updates are there for one simple reason. A security breach has been discovered, and the sooner you update, the sooner you will again be safe. When you add a new friend on your Facebook page, you will automatically share all of your information and your friend's information with that new person that you add. It should be an actual person, someone you actually know. It shouldn't be the guy from Mars or the store that offers you a discount for making them your friend. If you make that store your friend, you're liable to wind up seeing all kinds of ads coming from all over the place. And if that happens, you're liable to lose some friends. In some cases, that may be a good thing. WannaCry, CryptoLocker, ransomware, some of the things you hope you never ever see on your computer. The best way to make yourself secure against that kind of an infection is to be prepared for it before it happens, which means get into the habit of making regular image backups. That way, if something like this happens to you, or your hard drive crashes, it's a matter of maybe an hour and you'll be back in business. If you're not prepared, you're going to lose all of your personal information. You can always restore your operating system. You can always reinstall all of your programs, but it's all of your personal information that's at risk, because once it's encrypted by CryptoLocker, unless you pay that ransom or have a way to restore your system before the infection happened, you can kiss all of your personal information bye-bye. Let's change gears and talk about some programs that ought to be on your system to help keep you safe. At the very end, I share one simple link. Copy it. You'll have access to all the programs we talk about and a whole lot more. The first program is called McShield, and what McShield does is it checks the boot sector of any external device that you plug into your computer, like a flash drive, an external hard drive, the memory card from your camera. All of those could be infected. And if you don't have protection against that boot sector infection, you'll never know until it's too late. Having this installed on your computer will prevent that from happening to you. Untitled does exactly what its title says. If you use a default install and the program you're installing has all kinds of add-ons that you really don't want on your computer, if you had Untitled installed, it would make sure that those things never wind up on your computer, because it will uncheck what they have pre-checked. Malwarebytes Antimalware, an excellent companion regardless of whose antivirus program you happen to be using. Remember, I said it's a companion. You can only have one resident antivirus program on your computer at a time, but you can have your antivirus program and Malwarebytes. They work together to help keep you safe. CCleaner was originally called Crap Cleaner because that's its job. Clean up all the garbage left behind when you visit the internet or you run any of the programs that are on your computer. It can also be used as a registry cleaner, but unless you're an expert at cleaning the registry, I suggest that you leave the default settings exactly as they are. They're 100% safe, and use it for what it was intended to do, and that's to clean up garbage. If you start making changes in the part that cleans the registry, you could wind up with a system that will not boot. CCleaner promises to make a copy of the registry before it makes any changes. But if you make the wrong change and you now can't boot your system, how will you get to that backup? Play it safe, leave the default settings for the registry cleaning part, and you'll always wind up being able to start your system again. Wind Patrol monitors your system for changes. And if it pops up to tell you that something wants to run and you don't recognize it, do a search. Make sure that almost all of the reviews are favorable. If not, don't allow that program to run. Since it's already installed on your computer, you should also uninstall it. Wind Patrol does one more very nice function. It also monitors your registry for changes. Many of the new infections work directly through the registry, and this will give you an early warning if something like that starts to happen. This is the antivirus program I've been using since 2003. It's called Avast. I stumbled on it because back in 2003, I was using Norton. Actually, Norton was using my computer and occasionally gave me some access. That's when I looked for something else. I stumbled across Avast, and it's now been there ever since. It's light on system resources, and it's done an excellent job of keeping my computer safe. Next comes a little video that'll tell you a little bit more about Avast.
The internet never sleeps. Morning, noon, and night, millions of people are working, playing, and connecting online. While the internet grows, serious cyber threats are growing along with it. Avast makes the world's most popular internet security software. And we built the largest global cybersecurity network to keep you protected, no matter the place, whatever the time of day. We analyze data from our 400 million users and use next-generation detection algorithms based on artificial intelligence and machine learning to detect and block threats in real time, anticipating and stopping attacks before they do damage. Every month, Avast prevents over 1 billion malware attacks around the world, all without ever slowing you down. Whatever you do, wherever you connect, morning, noon, or night, Avast keeps you protected online.
Avast has over 400 million users worldwide. It is actually the most used antivirus program worldwide. The more users, the more likely you're also going to wind up being updated against the newest discovered infection, and the sooner you get protected, the less likely you're liable to run into it. We should all realize there's no such thing as a perfect antivirus program. The virus always comes first, and the protection doesn't happen till the guys in the virus lab have figured out what makes this new infection or new variant of an old infection work and tick, and they send along that protection to everyone who's part of the system. By 2018, there will be just as much malware on your Android device as you currently have on your computers. You should also realize that most of us probably have more personal information on our smart devices than we have on our computers. Our youngsters really don't use computers anymore. They have their tablets and their smartphone. That's all that they need. Avast offers free mobile security to those of you that use an Android device, and this is what it can do for you.
Please listen carefully.
How to protect your phone and tablet. With so much valuable data inside, our phones are magnets for all kinds of hostile software. Each day, Avast detects 12,000 mobile malware samples. And you are vulnerable when you least suspect it, like when you're playing games. So if you don't want to be spied on and want to keep your data safe, try Avast Mobile Security for free. We already have 2 million malware samples locked up in our mobile database. That's because we run a powerful virus scan to stop hackers in their tracks. An antivirus engine automatically looks for infected apps, trojans, and memory card content. It even tests new apps to make sure they're safe before you use them. And Wi-Fi security always keeps your connection safe no matter where you connect. Letting you know if the network you're connected to is unsecure, weakly encrypted, or otherwise unsafe. You can even lock your apps to keep your app content safe from children, thieves, and cheeky friends. Filter incoming calls and texts, block specific numbers from calling or messaging you, and avoid any awkwardness. It's easy to use complete protection for your phone and your tablet. The cost? What cost? It's totally free. Download Avast free mobile security directly from Google Play. For those of you that have an iOS device, there isn't any antivirus program because Apple says that if there is a virus discovered, they update their operating system and you're now again safe. What we do offer from Avast is something called Avast Secure Me, and it's a VPN, Virtual Private Network, and we talked about that earlier in the program. Passwords, one of my favorite topics. A strong password is made up of a combination of small letters, capital letters, numbers, and symbols. Make it long, make it strong. Unfortunately, worldwide, the most used password is 123456. And coming in a strong second is password. Neither of the two are safe. Neither of the two will keep you safe. I can tell you that a hacker is not going to spend 3 weeks trying to decrypt or unlock your strong password when there are so many dummies out there who still use these weak passwords. We have some smarties who told me that they don't use 123456. They've got it all figured out. They now use 654321. I also told you earlier that you should not be using the same username and password for every site that you need a sign-in information for. And you should be changing it often, which for us at our age isn't that easy, and it's not safe to write these things down on a sticky note and attach them to a refrigerator, because that's visible to everybody. And because we now have smart refrigerators, who knows where that information will wind up. What you should be doing is using a password manager, and you can get a free one from Avast. Avast makes a password manager for your Windows system, for your iOS device, for your Android device, and for your Mac. And once set up, it can be synced across all devices. Once installed, there's only one password that you ever need to remember, and that's the password to get to your password manager. When you set it up, you'll also be shown a warning, which you have to agree to, that says that you are the only one that knows this password. It isn't stored, it isn't saved, there aren't any hints, and if you forget it, you get to start all over again because you won't have access to the passwords in that password manager. So make sure that you save that password someplace until you fully remember it. If you forget it, you get to start all over again. This can automatically make up passwords for you. Once it knows the information, will automatically do the signing in for you. And as I said, you can sync it across all devices. Customer service techs, for some reason, seem to be getting younger every single year. Pretty soon, they'll get born with a smart device in their hand. There isn't anything safe on this screen. When that fella from Microsoft called you to tell you that your computer is infected, please don't believe him. Of course, he wants to be real nice and help you clean up that infection. All he needs is remote access to your computer. The only person who should ever get remote access to your computer is the same person you would trust to take that computer out of your house. If you don't trust them to remove it from your house, you also shouldn't grant remote access. Plain and simple. Once you grant remote access, they have access to everything on your computer. And if you give that fella from Microsoft access, the first thing he'll do is get all your personal information so he can start stealing your money. Microsoft, by the way, doesn't have a clue if your computer is infected or if it's clean. And if you tell this guy that you have a Mac, I can assure you that next week you'll get a call from Mac telling you your Mac is infected. Telephone scams are very easy to end. Just hang up the phone. Also remember that they now start recording your phone conversation, and then they put words together piece by piece and go out and make purchases. And when you insist that, gee, I didn't make this purchase, they'll play you back your words. Kind of hard to deny if it's coming in your own words. So the safest thing to do as soon as you discover this is a scammer is to hang up the phone. Don't say anything. Don't say yes, don't say no, just hang up the phone. You could do one thing, get a whistle, the one with the ball inside, and once you know for sure it's a scammer, blow that sucker as hard as you can. I guarantee you they won't call you again. Some words of wisdom. Think old and you'll be old. Think young and you'll be a delusional old fart. If you learned something this afternoon, please let Avast know about it. That's how these presentations continue. Normally, I do these presentations live. And the arrangement I have with Avast is very simple. Second, I leave home until I get back. They pay every dime of my expenses. One way for somebody who's on Social Security to get to see this great country of ours. If you know of any clubs that are interested in a presentation, either live or via Zoom, please have them contact me directly, and I'll be more than happy to arrange a presentation for them. I said at the end I would be sharing a link with you. This is that link. It ends in a capital I and a capital Q. I use Google's shortening service to shorten a very long link, because this is actually a document on my Google Drives. The reason I use Google is because they check to make sure that when you shorten something, there's nothing malicious in it. If there is, they won't shorten that link. I would now be happy to entertain any questions.
Okay, do we have any questions? Other than we got excellent presentation. Anybody have any questions or anything? I said, I highly recommend that you get an opportunity to invite Bob to your club, because he usually ends up with a new presentation every year. And
for next year, the presentation is going to be, if it's connected, it needs to be protected.
And he promises he does not sing during any of his presentations. And as I said, I especially like that whistle thing, and I'm going to give that tip at my next meeting, because I know that we have an awful lot of people to get Microsoft people.
Calls, yeah.
So I think that's great. Do we have any answers? Oh, he got one question. Okay, one of them wants to know, is that a 1? That's an I before the Q, correct?
An I, capital I, capital Q.
Okay.
Copy it or take a picture of it. And if that doesn't work, on the previous screen, I gave you my email address. You can always send me an email. I look at my spam folder and I pull out the ones from people that have visited or I visited for a presentation. So,
okay, these things are coming in fast and furious here, and we got plenty of time. What do any other browsers offer VPN?
None that I know of, no. They offer private browsing, but that's not the same as a VPN.
Okay.
VPN encrypts privacy browsers. They just don't pass along information, but they don't encrypt.
Okay. Carol has a question. When you have the same program on multiple devices, how do you remember which devices you need to change the password on? I'm not really sure I understand the question.
Okay,
but
because your password is not by browser, but by site. Okay, you go to a website, and when you get to the website, you have to enter a username and a password, or you go to your bank. So it doesn't matter what browser you use, it's the website that you get to where you have to sign in. And for that, it's going to be whatever bank you use. And that's what you should be changing on a regular basis.
Okay. Someone commented that Unchecky does miss items occasionally, and then they ask you to inform them through the community page.
Correct. Unchecky is an ever increasing or ever updating program. As we inform them, hey, you missed this, it gets added.
Okay. The next question is, the boot software MC is what again?
Boot software?
That's what it says. The boot, B-O-O-T, software MC, capital M, capital C, is what again?
I don't have a clue.
Okay. Joe, if you want to re-ask the question. On tablets or iPhone, do you have to scan, or is it device protected full time?
It's always protected.
Okay, which means that the Avast is running in the background and protecting.
That's correct. That's correct. Okay.
He said, I run an Apple user group in my retirement community. So basically, their smartphones and tablets, they are overwhelmed when we start talking about security. What would you tip to people who appreciate what they need to do? What would be a tip to get people to appreciate what they do, what they need to do?
To stay safe, I assume?
Yes.
Watch your browsing habits. That's mainly what you have to do, and even then, sometimes it doesn't help. Now, there are no third-party antivirus programs available for your iOS devices because Apple takes care of its own by updating the operating system. So talk to Apple about it.
Okay. Carol said, I have a Microsoft 365 on more than one computer. If I change my Microsoft password, I have to remember to change it on all devices.
No. If you change your Microsoft password, it changes automatically for any place that you access that requires access to Microsoft. You don't change it on every device.
That's what a password manager would do for you.
Yeah, it will automatically use the right password once you have changed it, okay? That's the whole idea behind it.
Yeah.
Because if you're using it on a different device and the device is the one that's remembering it, it will remember the old one because you changed it somewhere else. If you have a password manager, that's what controls it, and it will automatically know what the new sign-in information is. So it not only can remember all of them, but once you change it in one place, it will fill that correct information in if you're using a different device.
Yeah. Also, if your Microsoft 365 is your Microsoft Live or Microsoft address, it should be the one you sign onto your computer if you go into the Microsoft store. And once you change it, you just have to type in the new password wherever you go, and it'll work.
Correct.
Okay, CC Cleaner. They said we have a recommended checking old prefetch data in the cleaner section.
I have it unchecked.
Okay.
Because it'll only rebuild it again anyway. So you're not speeding something up. You're slowing something down by doing and cleaning it.
Yeah.
Prefetched means it's stuff that you use constantly. And if you have to start all over, it has to learn all over again. It's like cookies on safe sites. If you wipe them out, well, you'll have to fill it all in again.
Yeah. I was going to comment. It said, I think CC Cleaner, you have the ability to pick the cookies you want to get rid of.
That's correct.
Okay. And keep them on the safe sites that you go to.
Right.